Hey, my name is Samar. I also go by Sam or First Time Panner. Any of those you want to call me, you can. This will be another video in the 2 Looks 1 Palette series. And I'll leave the entire series linked below in the description box and at the end of the video. But if you've never seen this before, this is just kind of like my own little thing that I'm doing for myself this year, because last year I did a No Pan Left Behind series, and then this year I went back to doing Pan That Palette or Pan Those Palettes. Go check that project out. But I still wanted to get use out of all the other palettes in my collection, but specifically my older palettes that are already kind of like been there, done that, but I want to get some use on them again because I already put all of my new palettes in my old new Gifted Blue project. So every month I come back and I pick a palette from a different brand to do 2 looks with. I don't have to use the palette No Pan Left Behind, but I usually try to, especially if it's like 9 pans or less. This one is one of the bigger palettes that I'm doing. I don't know why I'm holding it this way. This is the Artist Couture's Couture. I actually don't know exactly how to pronounce that word, but this is the Supreme Nudes eyeshadow palette. Here's what it looks like. I got this maybe 2 years ago now, so it's definitely not the oldest palette in my collection. I started buying eyeshadow palettes in 2021, like tail end of 2021, but it is definitely a palette that is very underused. I think I've only used this eyeshadow palette probably like less than 5 times my entire time having it, which is pretty sad because I was so excited to have this eyeshadow palette. And this is even what I consider my Love Island palette, which I did the eyeshadow palette wardrobe tag, which, you know what, I'm gonna link that in the description box as well. And I said I kind of made my own prompt and I said, if I went to Love Island, this is, because I'm like not a super fan, but I am a fan of Love Island. I just think it's so entertaining. It's trashy TV, but it's very entertaining in my opinion. But this would be the palette that I would bring if I was ever a contestant on that show, which I never ever would be. Let's be honest. I never could or would want to be a contestant, but if I could only bring one eyeshadow palette to have with me for 5 or so weeks, however long it lasts, this would definitely be the one, because it has warm tones, cool tones, like as far as neutrals, but then it also has a few pops of color with the green and the yellow gold, and then this kind of like clay reddish shade here. So it kind of has everything that you would need as far as your basics. And then if you want to switch stuff up, if you make it that far into the game, the show, whatever, you have a few different options for color. Now that I've been talking for way too long, I'm gonna get started with the 2 looks. The only thing that I have on my eyes is, because I kind of had an idea in my mind that on one side I would do a cool tone look and one side would be a warm tone look. So I did put a cool tone highlighter on this side, and I put the highlighter in my inner corner as well. And then I put a warm tone highlighter on this side with the highlighter in this inner corner. So other than that, and I did eyeshadow primer. I accidentally did it before I started doing my makeup, as I usually do, so I put eyeshadow primer on like half an hour ago, and I kind of topped it off with some face powder. And I always start with my right eye, so I'm going to put this shade Silhouette kind of just all over my eye. I'm going to use this brush that's way too big, but you know that I like making bad decisions on this channel, so here we go. Sorry if you can hear that in the background. Those are my cats. They're sleeping on my bed right next to me, and I also have the air on because it's so hot today. It's been in the 90s this week where I am. I'm gonna take this like slightly smaller brush to put it on my lower lash line. Then I'm gonna use the same brush with the shade Mink and just put it, you know, in my outer corner, kind of up into my crease. I don't know, I just like was feeling neutral looks today. Maybe I brought a pencil brush just in case I want to put something on my lower lash line, but I've just been feeling neutral lately. I don't know if it's because I was trying to hit pan in my Natasha Denona palette for so long that I was doing a neutral look every single day, and now I have like a neutral, they're like cool tone deeper neutrals, but I have a neutral palette in my Project Level Up, so it's just been like neutrals all the time. I have a video planned, a get ready with me, but I'm using pretty much all brown neutrals in that video, just like it kind of happened that way by chance. This always happens to me where like it's blended, but the camera makes it look like it's not. You're just gonna have to trust me. Now I'm gonna move on to my NYX glitter primer, and I'm gonna use the shade Bronziana, which I hate that shade name. It's just, I don't know. What does that, like, is that a thing? Or did they just pull that name out of their butts? But I'm gonna put it all over my lid. And I feel like, oh, my air just turned off. This one is not like necessarily super cool tone, but the only other kind of like nude shimmer in this palette is definitely warm toned. That's what that looks like there. I think I'm gonna put this green called Supreme on my lower lash line, even though it does have like yellow gold glitter throughout it very subtly. It's like the actual color of the green part is like a murky kind of olive green, which I feel like goes well with cool tones. I'm gonna take this pencil brush and just try to be very careful, but we'll see how this ends up looking. This is turning into a very dark look, which I did not intend, but oh well. I'm gonna put on eyeliner and mascara and be right back. This is the final look for this eye, and of course I'll take pictures after. Hopefully I remember to add them to the end of this video, but I'm gonna get started on the second eye. So this is going to be the warm eye, and I'm gonna take the shade Eccentric, and I'm basically gonna do the same thing that I did on this eye, but just on this one. That's so crazy how this eye looks so much bigger than this one right now. And I'll probably end up going somewhere today too. It's a Sunday. Have you guys ever seen that Vine? Anyway, but yeah, it's a Sunday, so I have to go out and get some stuff done. But people in this town by now, they've seen me with some crazy stuff on my face. I have gone out like last month and the month before when I did my 2 looks 1 palette. I did go out after, so this is nothing new for them. I'm just taking that smaller brush and putting that shade on my lower lash line. And then I'm actually gonna take this clay shade called Aesthetic and kind of put that in my outer corner and my crease area, kind of like I did on this eye. This one isn't super dark, but it's just, I don't know. I kind of wanted to try it. We'll see what happens. Okay, something happened over here where it kind of went way out. Also, it doesn't look that bad, but the camera lighting just makes everything look so stark and unblended. But it does look a little bit funny. I don't know how, because my brush didn't even go out here. Something's happening. I'm just taking some of Exposed, like kind of on the edges to see if it'll tone it down a bit. But I guess that's cool. I'm using one more shade than I expected to. I have no idea how that happened. But I guess this is a good cleaning up shade. I should use this one more. That looks a tad bit better. Not great, but better. Hopefully in the pictures, you'll actually see what I'm seeing. You know what? The way this is looking now in person, I would probably wear this just as it is. I do love all matte looks. I just put my NYX glitter primer on my eyelid, and now I'm gonna take this very warm metallic called Opulence and put it all over my lid, of course. This one is more of like a dry formula, like not Sigma dry formula, but it's definitely drier than the other 3 metallics, which is interesting. I wonder what that's about. And you know what? I think since I put something on my lower lash line on this eye, maybe I'll put the last metallic called Lavish, just this yellow gold, on my left eye's lower lash line. Hopefully it doesn't make it look too yellow, but we'll see. It didn't really do much, but I think that's because, like I said, that Opulent shade is the punchiest shade in the palette. So probably relatively it looks dull, but If you look closely, you can see it. And again, I'm gonna add my eyeliner and mascara and be back. There it is. There's that final look. So, okay, future me put the pictures, the post-production pictures on the screen now. So yeah, I like both of them. I mean, they're just neutral looks with a pop of color on the lower lash line, like the most basic thing ever, but I do really like both of the looks. They're very pretty. I think I really like this one, and I think this one is the one that's more flattering for my skin tone, just because, again, I always say this, I have very warm undertones. Also, I'm just realizing this packaging is very reflective. You can probably see the absolute mess that my room is right now. But anyway, yeah, I think warm tones will just always look more seamless on me, and I do really like them for that. But I don't know, I think the two metallics that I used on this eye, which is the Bronziana and Supreme, are my two favorite shades in the palette, because the Bronziana, I hate it. Bronziana kind of just looks like, and I don't know why I keep calling it mink, but that kind of mink, almost pinky, kind of cool toned, neutral, mid-tone brown. It's like one of my favorite nude shades to wear, like as for eyeshadow. And then that murky green with the yellow gold sprinkled throughout. I love, first of all, you know that I love grungy greens, and I love pairing green and gold together, so that shade is so pretty to me. So yeah, I really do like this eye. It combines my two favorite shades in the palette, and I'm very happy with this. I will say this shade Eccentric, which is the first one that I used on this eye, very powdery. There was a lot of kick up, not as much as my Terra Moon Space Chemistry palette. That was crazy. And the Lovers on the Sun one, both of those. Like, something about Terra Moon's mattes, I guess. But yeah, there was still a lot of like kick up for this one. So other than that, like, the palette is still like in perfectly good condition, which I'm very happy about, because this is not a cheap palette or anything, and I do really like it, so I want it to last in my collection so that I can use it more. And this was a good reminder for how much I really like it, and that exposed shade that I used to clean up really came in handy, so I'm glad it's in there. At first I was like, that's the one shade I will never use in this palette, but I needed it today. So that's it for this 2luxe1 palette. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the playlist to see the others. Check out the eyeshadow palette wardrobe tag. I think that's what it was called. I actually have to update that, because I think that was a few years ago that I did it. That's a good idea for a future video. All right, well, I'll just see you in my next one, whatever it is. And until then, I hope you have a great day. Bye.